If you love business podcasts, but sometimes need a break from the serious and instructional tone of most podcasts out there, then you need to check out the Misadventures in Small Business podcast. Hosted by local business owner Aaron Clark, the Misadventures in Small Business podcast is a lighthearted show focusing on the fun side of business. Collected from years of experience as a small business owner, Aaron shares funny, entertaining, laugh-out-loud stories that he's personally experienced. The bite-sized episodes are 5 to 15 minutes in length, so you can listen to a full episode on the go, in between meetings, or while you're getting ready in the morning. Listen today on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, or wherever you get your podcast.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, your go-to source for connecting with small businesses and entrepreneurs in the East Valley. Get ready to be inspired by local entrepreneurs as they share their stories, mindset, best tips, and advice. And now, your co-hosts, Dallin and Eric Huso.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers Podcast. This week, we're super excited to be here with Brandon Barnum with Raving Referrals. How's it going, Brandon?
Awesome. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, super excited to have you. Before we jump into the business, the book, take a few minutes and give us a little bit of a background on your life.
Oh, man, life story. Okay. Well, let me just net it out. Went to college for marketing. Met my wife in college and just celebrated 28 years of dating yesterday. So I got to give a shout out to my wife, Marlo. And after college, really got into the marketing business and game. Worked as a marketing director for an estate planning law firm. When all of a sudden, I got custody of my 2-year-old son. So that kind of changed things. And I ended up fast forwarding into getting into the mortgage business. And then from there, that's really where I learned the art and the science of raving referrals, right? So that's kind of where that journey started. And really, from there, I've been building tech for the last 10 years. The last platform I built was called refer.com. We built that into the world's largest referral network, over 5 million members and 250,000 realtors. So that was amazing. And then exited in 2019. That platform is now called pod.io. So they've rebranded it as a mobile app where people can see all the members in their local communities. And so that was super fun. And now I'm most excited about launching Raving Referrals, which we did yesterday and hit #1 on Amazon. So that was super awesome.
Nice. So yeah, as of recording today, yesterday was the day of the launch. So congrats on that. We'll get into that in a second. So you mentioned about 10 years ago, maybe you said, is when you kind of first got into referrals or kind of experienced the power of referrals?
Really starting in 97 is really
a little
when
more
it
than
started.
10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah, so I was a single dad at that point. I was 27 when I started in the mortgage business, and I was making like 20 grand a year. And I had to create more wealth for my family, right? More cash flow. And so I got into the mortgage business and I found a mentor that was just crushing it. This guy was making 6 figures, and I just started asking him, what is your secret? Like, how are you doing this, man? Because this guy would just sit in his office, answer his phone. His phone would ring all day long with new deals. He barely left the office, and he had zero personality. Like, it was totally a Ferris Bueller, like anyone. And so anyway, fortunately, I was able to just like suck his brain, learn everything I could. And within 18 months, 10x'd my business and income from $20,000 a year to $200,000 a year because of Raving Referrals.
Wow. What were some of those things that you sucked from his brain, some of the tips and advice that he gave you that caused you to be able to make such a drastic impact in your financial situation?
You know, the biggest thing is creating what we call profit partners, right? Creating referral partnerships with other people who are serving your ideal client each and every day. Right. So if you're listening and you're a business owner or you're a sales professional, there's people that are calling on your perfect prospects and ideal clients each and every day. They're seeing 5, 10 of these people. And so rather than building your business by yourself, create strategic alliances. We call them referral alliances, right? With people that are going to be out there championing your brand and talking about how great you are. And that's what you want, is an army, a tribe, really, of people that you're hanging out with. And when I learned to do that and started doing it in the mortgage business, it was just fun because you find, in my case, I found realtors that I loved hanging out with. We'd go, listen to music or go watch a show together, a movie, whatever. But find people that are already serving your ideal clients each and every day, and then add value to them. And when you do that and refer them, right? Give them business, help them win. And when you do that together, everybody wins faster, and it's a ton of fun.
So this is something you learned from your mentor in the mortgage business. Now, did you see this and pick up on this, or is this something that he sat you down and said, "Hey, here's how I do it"? Talk to us a little bit about that relationship and how that relationship developed over time.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. I wouldn't call him a mentor. It wasn't like a business coaching relationship where we would sit down weekly. I was at the desk next to him, and I would pretty much eavesdrop on him and listen when I could and ask him questions when he wasn't on calls, right? So it was more me doing a data dump and trying to capture that. And really, I started asking the most successful people in the industry. Right. I just went to who's number one? Who can I ask how they got there? Right. It's way faster if you can follow somebody else's proven program and plan rather than trying to figure it out yourself. Right. So that's why I'm a fan of hiring coaches and consultants. It's just made a huge difference in the speed, the velocity of success.
So you talked about the power and the secret of connecting with other businesses who share similar customers with you. Mm-hmm. Is that typically people in the exact same industry as you, or maybe people in different industries but that also share a similar customer base?
Yeah, great question. It can be both.
Okay.
It can be both. So when I was in the mortgage business, who did I partner with? Realtors, financial planners, insurance agents, attorneys, CPAs, right? And then all the home service pros, right? Home inspectors, home appraisers, painters, plumbers, construction people. Why? Because they were all out on site, and somebody would say, you know, what are you doing for your home? And they're like, I'm fixing it up because I'm going to sell it, right? I wanted that referral coming back through me so I could give it to one of my realtor partners. Because what the biggest thing I learned is the more that I can give to my partners, the more indebted they were, the more loyal they were. They became that brand champion that was constantly out there scouting for business. So I would have a dozen unpaid scouts out there that were just cross-referring and cross-promoting all day long.
So you can't always expect, immediate results when you start to refer, or maybe can you? So tell us about, I guess, the process of, when you start giving, how long does it typically take for those people to notice, how much business you're giving them, and then in return, they start wanting to give it back to you?
Really good question. Yeah, the process takes a while. This is the long game. I mean, you need to know this going up front, right? You're going to build your business for years to come, whatever you're doing. Right? Whatever business you're in, whether you're in the pool maintenance business or the mortgage business or the insurance business, you have to play the long game. So what I say to people is, look, what if you took 1 year to build referral partnerships? You took one person out to lunch each week for 1 year, 52 people. Let's just round down and call it 50. Let's assume that you ended up doing business and creating a partnership with just 20%. Right? The 80-20 rule. So now we've got 10 referral partners at the end of a year. And these are people that you like to hang out with, right? Like you trust them. They're good at their job. They deliver. They live their word. They're dependable and professional, and they're on time and on budget, right? And when you find those people, then those are the people you want to partner with and build your business with. And what we teach in the book is called the Referral Partner Blueprint, where you actually download and print off a one-page form so that you can walk through the top 21 co-marketing campaigns. Because it's not just about giving out a business card. That's one way you promote your partners, but there's 21 different campaigns. You're doing one of them right here, right? Podcasts. Expert interviews. The way you build relationship with influencers is to get them into your house, not to your couch, right? So well done, right? Like that's a smart strategy. It's one of the things that we teach. And at HOAcom, we actually do that on behalf of our premier pros. It's part of their package of what they get from, we help build their credibility and their visibility, because most small business pros out there serving homeowners don't really have much of a system, and they haven't really professionally completed their marketing package, right? So that's one of the ways we help.
So, Brandon, I love what you just shared with us. As you work with people in trying to coach them through this, building this referral base, I can see that some might have some hurdles in the way. I can tell that you have an abundant mindset where there's enough for everybody, right?
Always.
Right? You help somebody be successful. Like that doesn't take anything away from you. Somehow it only return in some way. How do you help people that don't have that abundant mindset to develop that abundant mindset where they can have the confidence to, hey, I can refer. It's not at all about, I'm not making these relationships to get something. I'm giving. I'm just going to refer and give and serve, and it'll come back to me. How do you help train that mindset?
I mean, the first thing I do, and this is shameless self-promotion, is I would give them this book, because this book is really about mindset. It's a different way of being. It's a different way of doing. Rather than building your business by yourself and wishing and hoping and praying, you've got a reliable, proven system. Like referrals works. The research shows it, right? People that are referred to you are 400% more likely to do business with you. Okay? It's because 90% of people trust recommendations from people they know. So 9 out of 10 of us are going to ask somebody or, get a Facebook recommendation and then are going to go use that referral. And so that's just how the science in the B2B world, 84% of business starts with a referral. 84% of business starts with a referral. So that's what I would say with the mindset. Now, the deeper question that you're asking is, how do you help people evolve? How do you help people become a better version of themselves at the core? And that's what I teach in the 7 laws of Raving Referrals, right? And it's all about that abundant mentality, right? It's that giver's gain mentality that Bob Berg said so well. So you have to just constantly look at who you're being, and it's be, do, have is the equation to materializing anything, right? It starts with our being, and then we go do, so then it's our doing, and that leads to our having. So it's all mindset in the end. Get great mentors in your life. Go on there, read podcasts, read the Bible, read personal development training programs, right? So wherever you find source, go find people that you learn from, and there's just so much great material out there. I just got re-exposed to Bob Proctor's stuff. He's a great law of attraction professor, and so there's just amazing people out there.
Yeah, Bob Proctor, he's timeless. And for those that haven't heard any of his stuff, you can see stuff on YouTube. You can
Absolutely.
He's written multiple books on really paradigm shifts and helping get through those hurdles that might have you have that limited mindset.
Absolutely.
That's great stuff.
I was very fortunate because I got personally mentored by Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I was running my mortgage business. So fast forward, I started out as a single dad. I learned the art and science of Raving Referrals. I started crushing it, making a couple $100,000 a year. Life's good, got married, had other kids. And in that process, I started really looking at what can I do to make a difference, right? Because I had started my company, Integrity Lending, I had somebody approach me from a charity and they said, we're looking for people. Actually, sorry, it started with an invitation to a luncheon event. I went to learn about this charity. They had a doctor who had just come back from Africa. The charity was called Northwest Medical Teams. And so it was kind of like Doctors Without Borders. They would send doctors and supplies around the world. And this doctor comes back and he's telling the story about he'd just come back from Africa. He'd been there for 2 weeks, and after 18-hour days, at the end of every day, as the van is pulling away from the village, undoubtedly there's a woman carrying her baby saying, "What about my child?" And when I heard his story, my heart just broke, and I said, I got to do something to make a difference. And so I started raising money and raising awareness for Northwest Medical Teams. They knew I was into personal development. They asked if I might help find a speaker for their big annual awards luncheon, where it's the number one fundraiser for the organization. And so I knew someone who knew Mark, and I asked. And that's one of the secrets that Mark told me is ASK to GET. You got to ask for everything you want. And in this book, I dedicated a chapter to Mark and the power of asking. He and his wife, Crystal, have their book Ask Now, which is really incredible in teaching people how to get what they want. And it comes from the power of asking. And so I asked, Mark said yes, he came. I paid from my company to pay his fees so the charity didn't have to. And we raised enough money on that day to send $1.2 million in medical supplies. So It was just incredible. And then, from the stage, he challenged the audience to get really clear on what you want to accomplish, achieve, experience. And so he challenged everybody sitting there, write at least 101 goals. And I went to Hawaii the following week, and I took his message and challenge to heart, and I wrote like 335 of them. And some were pretty outlandish, right? Like one was, I wanted Mark to write about me in a book by May 28th of the next year, 2005, right? And then another was, I wanted him to be my mentor. And I wanted to travel all over. I hadn't really left the U.S. much, and I'd never been to New York City, right? Within the next 2 years after writing that goal, I'd been to New York City 6 times, right? I wanted to meet Bono, right? The rock star from U2. In 6 months' time, I had met Bono. Like just amazing things came to be from the power of clarity, of writing out your goals and when you want to accomplish them. And fortunately, I came back and summoned up the courage to ask Mark to be my personal mentor. He said yes. And then he started to invite me to all of these events down in California that he did, because he did amazing conferences that changed so many lives. And so he would introduce me, which was amazing. And then a couple months later, he said, hey, I'm writing this follow-up book to the 1 Minute Millionaire. Bob Allen and I are writing this next book, and it's going to be called Cracking the Millionaire Code. Would it be okay if we write about you in the book? And I'm like, hey, yes, it would. That was on the goal list. And so I said, yes, they wrote 3 pages about me in the book, and it came out on May 31st, 2005, 3 days after my goal. And after that experience, I now know that you can have anything you want. You can have and achieve and experience anything that you want, but it starts with getting clear on what you want and then going after it with everything you got.
I love that. You talked about asking as being such a big key to achieving that. Is there anything else? Because obviously you don't just write down your goals and then wait a year and all of a sudden you've achieved them all. There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah. Are there any other, particular steps that you usually take for all your goals in order to reach them, other than just, asking questions and asking to do things?
Yeah, get clear on them. I mean, mine are sitting there printed to the left of my desk, so I see them every morning. Mm-hmm. I review them to know exactly when I'm on target and what I'm wanting for. But for me, the answer to your question is more spiritual than a daily practice. It's really about being in connection with God for me, right? For spirit, universe, however you experience that. But for me, I'm listening to praise music 4 to 6 hours a day. I'm just music that is inspiring, uplifting, and empowering. Right? It's all love. There's no judgment. And so I just find songs, and while I'm writing copy or email or doing whatever I'm doing in between conversations, I'm just flooding my body with good vibes. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome. So there's a lot of time that's passed in between, 97, where you first learned the Power of Referrals, and yesterday, where the book is released. I guess, what are some things that stopped you from writing this book earlier? Was it just you wanted to intentionally experience more in life, so you had more to write about, or did this idea come more recently, or what all happened in between that time period that caused such a long gap between learning the power and then actually writing the book about it?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give a tip of the hat to local hustlers, because that's what it was, right? So really, I got out of the mortgage business after The Big Short, right? In 2009, I had 3 offices, 30 loan officers. We shut it down. I just realized where the mortgage and banking industry was going and that I didn't want to be there, right? So I went and I built a personal development company with some others with the purpose of donating 40% to charities that provided food, water, education, microloans. Gave them a 2-year commitment. We boosted that up and had amazing people and were able to empower people. And when I was driving here, I was thinking about the journey, because that's really what you're asking about. Right? Yeah. And my journey hasn't been fluid. Like some people are at the same job, the same company for years. That wasn't my experience. But as I look back, I realized I had to have each of these different, some call them pivots, right? You learn and you grow, and then things change. So for me, I went from a personal development company, and after 2 years, I went back to tech. I had built websites in 97 that were database driven and ahead of their time. And I had Longevity Labs, which was a complete e-commerce site back before people spent money with credit cards online, right? And we learned that lesson. But what happened afterwards is we created Trusted Team, and that was the start of this journey about referrals, because we built a software platform. Now we're talking about 2010, 11, 12, 13. We we merged trustedteam.com and created refer.com in 2014. We built that into the world's largest referral network. So I've been building tech to support people in referrals for the last decade. So that's what I've been up to. We've just been, we pivoted. Well, we didn't pivot. We merged the company with another software company that had complementary stuff and a bigger team and a bigger budget, right?
When did you, or I'm assuming you did, maybe you didn't, but you talked about clarity and writing down goals. Was writing a book one of your goals at one point? If so, how long ago did you come up with that goal and that idea?
Yeah.
And then going from whenever that was to release date, let's kind of start diving into that process.
This is like going to college for 10 years because it took me 10 years. Wow. I think about the book. I first registered ravingreferrals.com as a domain in I'm going to say 2011, maybe 12. And I had built up the curriculum. I built up an 8-part, 8-week series that I was coaching with the #1 business coach in the world for Action Coach. He was rated that 5 times. His name is Earl Kemper. And so when I did a search for Raving Referrals online, the only image I saw was Earl Kemper, who was teaching Raving Referrals through his Action Coach to his clients in Kansas City, I believe it was at the time. And so we created a partnership and started teaching the class together. And then we ended up merging refer.com. And so we never really brought out the material. We taught it one time, and it sat on the shelf until a year ago. And after we acquired HOA.com as a domain, I went from being chairman of the board to CEO and knew that's the company that I'm building for this next chapter, as long as that leads, whether it's acquisition or forever, and time will tell. But I knew that all of the pros that we were going to serve in HOA.com need the blueprint. They don't know what to do and what to say. And so we needed to create the content for them to really empower them to succeed.
Love it. Just looking through the book here, I could be out of touch because I'm an Audible guy, I'm an audiobook guy, so I never really read books, but I see that you have a lot of QR codes in there. Is that something that's becoming commonplace, or was that an idea that you had to do that?
I learned that actually from another mentor, Steve Rogers, former Warren Buffett CEO. He did that for his last book and highly recommended it. So I learned from the experts and the coaches that advised me. And when I saw what he was doing, and Steve Rogers is an amazing man, and he's all about teaching people to invite good in, to invite God in. And that's really, with his book, The Iggy Principles, what it's all about. So that's what he did, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant, because what it does is it creates the visual, the video experience, right? Like people reading the book, they're not hearing my voice. They're not feeling my spirit, right? But video does that. Of all of the mediums out there, video is the most effective, because then you can see and you can hear, and you can really feel the person, right? Especially through the voice. But that was just a brilliant recommendation by Steve Rogers, and so give him all the credit.
Another question about the book, Brandon.
Yeah.
So most creative works that are inspired, they just they come, right? It's not like you're grinding and spending days and years and hours and just grinding through it. There's a flash of inspiration, and then it flows, right?
Yeah.
Did you have those kinds of moments in the writing of this book? I know that you developed a lot of this content and then practiced it for years and years.
Yep.
But once you decided to write the book, talk to us a little bit about some of those maybe moments of inspiration that really flowed for you.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, obviously back in 13, 14, I wrote articles, right, which would become portions of it, like the referral score quiz. And people can go to referralscorequiz.com and you can take a 2-minute assessment, and it'll tell you kind of where your strengths and where your weaknesses are when it comes to referrals. And What's shocking is that I was just with a top producing realtor up in Denver the other day, 2 weeks ago, and he took the referral score quiz. This is a guy making over $250,000 a year. He scored 27 out of 100 because he just wasn't doing it. But it's okay because he's still crushing it, right? But as far as the inspiration, I had pieces of that from the last 10 years that I've sort of been assembling. When I sat down and said, okay, I'm going to write this book by January 1st, 2021, that's when I had to go in the lab. It's, kind of like going to a cabin and just forcing yourself, because some people, I think, are in the spirit and they're just flowing. If you're really being intentional, like, this is not a story as much as it is a guide. And so I took the time to really think through what I'm recommending, because I'm putting my name behind it. So for me, I wouldn't say it was as fluid as you described, although certainly when I'm telling a story of something that happened from the past, that just flows through naturally. But you have to be deliberate and thoughtful if you're going to recommend, especially in a business book, right? It's one thing if it's in a fiction work, then you can make up the story as you go. But in a business book, if you're really going to tell people that this is what you believe is going to make a difference in their life, you better make it your best work.
What's the total time it took to actually, write the entire book from front cover to back cover?
Oh, you're asking the number of hours? I didn't track it that way. I know I basically spent the month of December writing the book. So I would, and I also rewrote it, right? Like, I did 3 rewrites after the first version just to make sure that it was in the right order and sequence, and that the stories and ways that we help people, because those QR codes, you asked a moment ago, and I don't think I did you justice in that response. QR codes are the now. Like, if you're not using QR codes in your business, you're missing the boat. Any sign that you have, any marketing material that you have should have a QR code, including your business card on it, right? Because the reality is we promote rack cards for HOA, HOAcom, and also for the Champions Institute. We use these little brochure cards, and every one has a QR code because it leads people to the solution they're seeking. So just wanted to wrap that up. As far as the book itself, I'm sure it was hundreds of hours. Wow. I had somebody the other day come up to me and she said, wow, that's so exciting that you got your book done. And I'm like, it was a labor of love, and I'm so loved that it's done, right? And now that we've gotten through the launch and it's number 1, that was just amazing. But this woman was talking about starting her podcast. And she's like, I'm getting ready to either launch a podcast or write a book. What do you think? What would you recommend? I said, if I were to go back, I would do a podcast. And I'd choose, say, 12 chapters of your table of contents from your book and do a podcast on each one, right? So now you've got your content, have it transcribed. You've got it in written form. Now you can either hire an editor. In my case, I wrote every word and I edited every word. Yes, I had a publisher that did a glance, and I had my mom read the book a couple of times too. But I'll tell you, you know what? In the book, I teach first is the worst. So just do it. Just get it done. Like, the first time you do anything is the worst it's ever going to be, right? In my case, we launched the Kindle version of this book on Monday, and by Monday afternoon, we had already identified 6 different errors in the book that we had to go fix, right? No typos, but just errors, a dash here that shouldn't have been, right? On the back cover, you'll actually see on this, it's got duplicate words. So we had to fix that. The beauty is, if you're doing a book, people just order on Amazon. There's really no inventory anymore. So, we were able to completely redo it before the launch 3 days later. But the first is the worst. Get it out there. How are you going to know unless you get your product or your service to market and see what the market has to say?
Yeah. So I wanted to, and you've kind of answered the question, but talk more about, the process of writing. So you mentioned you didn't have an editor other than someone that just kind of looked at it at the very end, and then a publisher. Why did you go that route? I know some people self-publish. So what are some of the pros and cons that you learned of having a publisher there versus doing it by yourself?
Yeah, and I think this probably still falls in the category of self-publishing. Okay. I'm actually being introduced now to a New York publishing house on Monday that's looking at the book, because this isn't just a book. this is a brand and this is a plan. And so inside the book, one of the last calls to action is, would you like to be a Raving Referrals co-author? My mentors, Mark Victor Hansen, who sold over 500 million books, mostly through Chicken Soup for the Soul. He got other people to create the next version of the book and to promote it as their own. And so we're doing the same thing. The first title is likely to be Raving Referrals for Realtors, then Raving Referrals for Mortgage, for insurance, and you can imagine where it goes from there, right? In addition to that, then we have the certified trainer program. And what I'm most excited about is finding amazing teachers. There's so many people that love to speak and teach and train, but they haven't gotten the book done. Well, come practice with us. Come take this material. Come take our done-for-you PowerPoint presentations. Let us promote your events. You can come do an event with HOAcom where you've got the exclusive as the Raving Referral Certified Trainer, and you can be the local leader that's standing up and being known by all of the people that come through the door. So that's why the publisher's interested in talking to us, because it's not just about this one book.
That's cool. So this is kind of like a general overview, and then next you want to kind of get specific into different industries.
Totally. I had to write this book to apply to anyone, right? Because we focus not just on the B2B world, but also on the B2C, the business owners who serve consumers, right? And then there's another subcategory of health and wellness. There's a whole group of people that are in this microcosm, this ecosystem where they're all cross-referring, right? So there's all these different ways. The next part of the project is to customize the book with the specific scripts for each individual industry, right? And get people that are at the top of the game, the top 1-2% that are just crushing it in that industry. And then we're going to partner with them. They're going to help us rewrite the book, and then we're going to co-author it together.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself spending more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then you need to get in touch with Flamingo Pools. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green-to-cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools is there to take care of you. Here's a few things that makes Flamingo Pools stand out from the crowd. When you first sign up for service, they'll give you a free complimentary inspection of the pool to make sure everything is running smoothly. They'll also email you a service report with a picture attached after every visit so you know when your pool has been cleaned. They also offer a mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and get your first month of weekly maintenance free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013. Let's talk about yesterday. So yesterday is the release date. Talk to us about, were you nervous? Were you excited? What did you do leading up to yesterday to, I guess, promote it and market the book? And what sort of platforms were you on to be able to sell it?
Absolutely. Great question. So this process has been very humbling. Like, it is an ego check. If you've ever have doubts in your mind, and I'm a positive guy, like, I don't live with doubt very often. There's not many seconds in the day where I'm experiencing doubt. But releasing this book and bringing this forward has brought forth all of that, okay? Because I've kind of been a social ghost for the last decade. I've always partnered with other people that love being in the center of the spotlight. I've always found influencers to influence and to work together so they're taking my message out and making it their own. This is the first time I'm kind of stepping in front of the camera, so it was humbling for sure. What I did, I've got an amazing team behind me. Fortunately, I've got a woman, Michaela Kaliki, who has just really spearheaded this project on behalf of the Champions Institute and took care of all the social, worked with our designers. Fortunately, I've got in-house graphics designers and videos creators, and so I've got a lot of the resources. And if people don't have that in-house, they can go to Upwork or 99 Designs or Fiverr and find someone. We have found just amazing people to help us take this out. So we also have 70 different experts and influencers that are part of this project and program. So I wanted to create co-marketing with this book and release, which is exactly what we teach. And so that's what we created. We have a profile on ravingreferrals.com for every single one of our experts and influencers. And we've got some amazing people. And so they help share the book with all of their fans and followers, their community and their tribes. And so that's what helped make it a #1 bestseller.
That's awesome. So, yeah, you mentioned you were a #1 seller in which category?
Advertising.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where is that ranked? Is that through Amazon?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other place where people can purchase the book, or is Amazon kind of the main?
You can go to ravingreferrals.com. Definitely there is a link. Amazon as well. There's a hard copy that's coming out next week, so that'll be fun too. But what I would say is get on ravingreferrals.com. If you want to stay in touch with this information, you can check us out on Facebook as well. We've got over 19,000 people in it's Brandon Barnum, King of Referrals is the Facebook group. So, come join us there, and then we'll share lots of information. The other companies that you can follow too, if you're in the home service space, like if you're a painter, plumber, HVAC guy, anything like that, go to HOA.com and check out what we're doing, because we're building the #1 referral network for professionals who serve homeowners. And so everything you see in the book, we're helping people do in the real world as a service. So we're adding call rollover service, because if somebody's up on a roof or under a sink, they can't answer their phone. And there's a lot of stands, out there, stand with a van where it's a single guy, right? Chucking a truck, where they're out there by themselves. And so if they don't have that receptionist that you do, for example, right? They're too busy to answer their phone, and they're not able to provide the service that they want. So we're really creating the whole ecosystem and the suite of services for the individual professionals who serve homeowners.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk a little bit about those referrals that you have on HOA.com. If somebody wants to be a part of it, is it automatic? Do you have a vetting thing? Do you filter folks through certain lenses to ensure that you're providing customers with the most reliable sources?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So folks can go to HOA.com/grow. That's where they apply. We have 3 different programs. We have some that are certified pros. That starts at $30 a month. So it's super affordable. And then we have an expert pro position for people that want to have their name out there. We help actually ghostwrite blogs with them and help them really boost their credibility and visibility. And then we have our premier pros, where there's only one exclusively chosen for each industry and each area. And like here in Phoenix, we have 16 different zones. So one zone is all of Chandler. Another is all of Gilbert, for example. With all 3 programs, we have an application process. Most people are nominated to our platform. They get nominated by our existing pros. But we do a total background check. We check their social ratings and reviews. We only want to accept 4.5 star or better. We'll make an exception from time to time, but we go and look at those ratings and reviews to find out what's going on, because we want the best of the best. That's how we create quality, right? We're also partnering with companies, and we've got some major announcements coming. I'm not going to do that on this show, but we've got some great companies that we're partnering with on a large region in specific industries. And really, ultimately, we're going to create a portfolio of partnerships and work with national franchisors, right? So that we can instantly bring on their top quality pros, people that are proven, certified, and vetted. For us, we do this application process, check out their background, look them up on social, see how the community rates them, and if they meet our quality standards, then they're able to come in.
So with the program, if someone, signs up to be, the specialized person or business in that particular industry in the zone, how are they then referred to other businesses or to customers? What's kind of the second part of that process? Yeah,
great. So there's several different ways. Number one, we create a custom phone number for each pro, a special profile where they've got a special number that's just dedicated to them. Anytime a client calls that number, it automatically routes to them. But we record it and track it from a quality assurance perspective, and we will be turning on a referral rewards component where people will be able to get paid by referring both homeowners and pros to the network, right? Then they can also, a homeowner can also fill out a form on the website. In either case, it's an exclusive referral that only goes to that pro. So unlike some of the other sites out there that I don't need to name, they will resell that lead many times over. We're in the referral business. This is a relationship business. So we choose top quality pros, and then our commitment is to help them grow their business. Yeah. So homeowners can call them. When they get a call from us, it's going to say call from HOA.com, so they know that. If a homeowner fills out the request, the service request form on the website, it goes straight to them. And then we have ambassadors that are out in the social space. They're in different groups. So I'm not going to share all our secret sauce, but they're out there looking for people that are looking for help. Mm-hmm. And so when someone posts, hey, I'm looking for a great landscaper, painter, plumber, electrician, what have you, then we have people that are helping them find them through HOA.com.
Awesome. So you're also trying to connect and build relationships with customers so that they'll go to you to find, a business rather than some of those other companies out there.
Yeah, and so HOA.com is a startup. We're operating in 3 different markets right now: Phoenix, Denver, and Austin. We'll be expanding into Vegas in January. And so right now what we're doing is we are helping each of the partners that come in, each of the pros, whether they're certified pros, expert pros, or premier pros, we're helping them build and activate their referral network. It comes right out of the book. Here's what I found when we had Trusted Team. We did a survey and we found out how many people had referral partners. 28% of the people that answered, and we surveyed thousands, had 0 referral partners. Only 2% had 10 or more. And those were the people that were really crushing it. 78% had 3 or fewer referral partners, which means they were all on their own. So with HOA.com, we help them. We have a referral partner manager that works with them to build strong referral partnerships. Now we start with the people they already know I can trust and the people that have been referring business to them. Hey, if they're getting 1 referral every 3 months, how do we make that 1 referral every 3 weeks? How do we make that 1 referral every 3 days? How do we make that 1 referral every 3 hours? So it's about building deep, trusted relationships with the other people that are serving your ideal clients every day. And so that's why we come back to Raving Referrals. So there's 2 sides of the business. There's how we help them help themselves, and then there's how we help them. So unlike some of those other sites, right, Home Advisor and others, where you just have a listing, with us, we bring in that BNI element where we're helping you create your referral alliances that will send you referrals for years to come.
So I have to ask how you got a hold of the domain HOA.com. It seems like it'd be pretty highly coveted.
It was. It has been owned by the same man since he registered it back in 1994, and it was free at the time, right? But he's been building his business, and we started out our company as thehomeowneralliance.com. You talk about hustle, right? One day I'm sitting there meeting with my partner, and I'm like, bro, we can't make this work. This isn't going to go with the home. Like, somebody's going to misspell it at some point. It's just too long. And so I sat there and I said, this is just asking. Okay. For me, I asked God, I said, what is the most powerful domain that we could possibly have with the Homeowner Alliance? And it's HOA.com. So I reached out to the owner. I did a business deal with him. I first started by buying his services, and then went and used the strategies that I teach in the Raving Referrals book and built relationship, and then showed him how I could help him achieve his goals by working with us and helping us operate as HOA.com. And so that's what we did. Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
All the time. Yeah, it's something I learned from the CEO of my last company, Refer.com, because he went out and got that. We hadn't created our company yet. We had agreed to do a partnership, but we were talking about what was it going to be named. I thought it was going to be Trusted Team, and then we got Refer.com, and same deal. He was able to go negotiate that deal. So it's just critical that you have mentors, right, to show you and teach you just ways of thinking about things that you haven't thought of before. And I learned that from Tom Gay, and he's just an awesome man. He runs tribeup.com now and really does a similar thing. He's creating software and technology to help people create partnerships and build their businesses together. It's awesome.
So one other thing I want to touch on, we've talked about referral partners and mentors. So Brandon, you seem like a pretty outgoing guy, and maybe, I don't know if you were always like this, but it doesn't seem like you'd have a problem reaching out to another business to connect with them or reaching out to someone to ask to be a mentor.
Yeah.
But for some people that doesn't come as easily. So
Yeah.
how do you, I guess, step out of your comfort zone and, connect with other businesses or connect with potential role models in a way where you can, provide value to them as well,
Yep.
And come off confident and assured of who you are, and so that you can have a solid relationship there?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the spirit that you're asking, because when you're getting started, it's scary. Like my first year in the mortgage business is not an easy business, right? There's so much to learn, so many different programs. How do people qualify? How do you price deals? How do you get it through underwriting? Right? And so the first time you're doing anything new, it's scary. And for me, it took me a year before I felt like I could answer questions confidently. And I'm a fairly smart guy, so a year was a really uncomfortable length of time, right? But you got to just go ASK to GET. You got to go ask for what you want. No one is going to ask for you. No one can read your mind. It's up to you. You are the creator in this equation. You are the local hustler. You're the one that's got to go out there and hustle and grind every single day. So the biggest thing I would say is, people, if you're trying to activate the law of attraction, do what it says in the end of that statement, right? You don't have attraction without action. It's in the word. Action is what activates attraction. And so you got to get out there and you got to get uncomfortable and you got to get past yourself. Like for me personally, I'm doing that right now. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the first one of these that I'm doing here. We're just getting started. Like since the launch of this book, this is our first podcast, my first podcast. I'm going to get real uncomfortable until I'm really comfortable, right? And it's the people that fight through the uncomfortable and that get comfortable that end up as champions. So you got to face your fears. You got to just do what it takes, hustle and grind, and go make it happen.
Love that. And when talking about referrals, are all referrals created equal, or are there some types and avenues of referrals that, provide a higher impact or value? Because you've got, in person out at lunch, telling someone about this business that you enjoyed working with, and you tell your friend about it. You've got someone on Facebook asking their Facebook group for a business that does this. You've got someone posting on Instagram that they just had this company come out and do a good job for them. There's so many different ways that you can provide referrals.
Totally.
Are you trying to hit all of those, or do you find certain types of referrals more effective than others?
Yeah. So yes and yes. First of all, yes, I want all of those referrals. Yes, please. Every single one. I want people recommending and referring me and my companies every single day in every single way. Yeah, right. But the real question that you're asking is, are all referrals created equally? And absolutely not, right? What I want to do is have somebody, for me, like I'm using Zoom all the time, right? I'm a CEO of a technology company. I'm focused on leveraging my time and I don't have as much of it as I'd like. So I have to filter out who I'm having conversations with. But then I try and operate primarily off Zoom. I don't have to travel. Now, I have a business partner. He wants to meet everybody for lunch or a beer every single time. And I appreciate that. That's the New Yorker in him, right? Like that's old school and he's right. And I'm right. And so it's about optimizing the strength of your relationships, but also the velocity of them. What I'm committed to doing is getting crystal clear on who I'm asking to be referred to, because that's where the power comes from, right? It's one thing to have people just recommend you. That's what you want, right? You want to get all of those referrals just like we talked about. And what you want to become is a master asker, where you're crystal clear on what you want and you're asking others for it, and they're able to deliver and bring you what you're asking for. Right? It's like if you had a genie in a bottle and you're rubbing it and you're asking for your wish. Your wish is granted. Now, what do you wish for? Think carefully. Be specific. Be strategic. Who is your perfect prospect? Who are you looking to connect to? Now, as far as the way you get connected, face-to-face, always the best. I like Zoom because I can do a lot of those in a small amount of time.
Right.
I usually will commit to having a 30-minute conversation if somebody seems like they're interesting, and I'm on a mission to help them, right? So I'm looking for people that are coachable, teachable, that are committed to changing and being better and making things happen. So that's who I'm looking for, and I use Zoom a lot myself.
No, you just bring up a great point where you really have two businesses that serve people in a really unique yet complementary way. With the referral business, you're getting people the jobs, right? You can't. It's like in sports, you got to have the athletes to be successful, but then you're also providing the coaching and the growth and that side of it as well. And going back to what you said earlier about Stan in the van or Chuck in the truck, those types of entrepreneurs, many of our listeners are those types of entrepreneurs that have just started up their business. They're the one-man show. They're their marketer. They're the service tech. They're doing everything.
Totally.
They're working all day and then they're doing billing at night and, all that.
Oh, and they're coaching their kids t-ball afterwards. Yeah, man. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Maybe you can tell us a story of one particular success story of somebody that you've been able to elevate out of that, just that grind, and help them not only gain a lot more referrals, but also on the coaching side where they're able to grow personally and grow the business.
Oh man, so many stories come to mind. So the most recent, I'm going to talk about the Champions Institute for a second. The Champions Institute, tcichampions.com, provides sales and leadership training. And one of our marquee course is called Sales Accelerator. And in that, it's really a personality mastery course. You learn how to close more sales in less time because you customize your conversations and your presentations based on each individual prospect. And when you do that, you rapidly increase your velocity, your sales velocity, your time to close, the referrals that come, the relationships, all of that, right? Well, we just had a coach, actually a business coach, that came through our 8-hour course. And at the end, he said, look, I've got to cut it quick. And so he had to leave 30 minutes early. He's like, look, I've got this meeting and I think I'm going to land this client. And he came back to us 90 minutes later, and he had just landed $36,000 in new business, contracted business from 2 clients in the 90 minutes following the course. So we call that class to close, 36,000 class to close in 90 minutes, right? So that's what comes up because that happened like 2 weeks ago. That's a fun one. On the HOA side, I think of Scott Knutson. He's a local guy here. He's got Outdoor Homes is his brand. And so he came on board with HOA, and within 90 days, he had closed over $200,000 in new business. So we've got all kinds of stories like that. There's just so many. What we're super excited about, like we do referral mixers. That's part of how we connect people. Is we think events are just so important that it's really about bringing the community together because those guys don't have a chance to meet otherwise. So like next Thursday at Blue Martini, we're having our referral mixer, right? And we'll bring all these people together and help them forge strong relationships that lead to transactions. And we hear stories every day of people that are doing business, cross-referring, getting clients, and that's what it's all about. Now, with HOA, we're a newer company, right? So we haven't been doing that for a ton of time. So what I'm super excited about is the success stories that are going to come out of HOA.com a year from now, because we've got people that are so committed because they know they're part of the community and the tribe. And one of the things that we're doing that's unique at HOA.com is we create community impact events. Most of these pros, the Chuck in a Truck, doesn't ever do any marketing with his past clients. They never hear from him at all, right? So we have a CRM that they all get. We don't force them to use it. We upload the campaigns in there, right? They can give us their contacts. We'll upload them in the CRM. And then every month we create a different campaign. So yesterday was Veterans Day. We had Virtual Salute. So if you go to virtualsalute.com, you'll see the campaign. And we created custom versions of the video with the logos for our Premier Pros. So that's part of the service that we do is free video, right? Done for you, boost your brand, show that you support the troops. So every month we're creating community impact campaigns that our pros can then just quickly share with their communities to keep their name top of mind, so that when it comes to hiring somebody for their industry, they're the first ones they think of every time.
That's awesome. Brandon, as we're closing up here, for any of our listeners that are maybe on the fence if they should get the book or not, if they should read it or not, give us...
I don't know if there's anybody on the fence.
Hey, no, okay.
For the last person, the last
Okay,
listener
go ahead.
that's still on the fence.
There, it's $1.99 on Kindle right now, so I don't know how long it takes you to get your episode out, but...
Just to entertain us, then give us
Yeah,
some little summary or tidbit from the book that's going to make people be like, yeah, I definitely need that for my life, for my business. That's going to be super beneficial to me.
The biggest thing I'd say is go take the referral score quiz, referralscorequiz.com, or you can go to ravingreferrals.com and click on the quiz up above. That's going to tell you, like, you're going to see 10 different areas. These are the best practices for generating referrals for your business. And if you're scoring all 8s, 9s, and 10s, don't get the book. I mean, it's still going to help you if you do. So I'd still recommend you do it, because there are scripts and tips and strategies, techniques, campaigns that you can instantly swipe and go, that's brilliant. I'm doing that. Hey, I'm doing 90%. There's still a lot of gold on the table that you're leaving behind. But the referral score quiz is going to help you. Now, what I would say, we've been talking about asking, but if I can leave your people with one thing real quick, it would be the 3-step way to ask for referrals, because a lot of people don't get this, right? When you're first meeting with a client, especially if you're in professional services and each client represents good dollars to you, at the end of that service, right, when they've signed the bill or said, I'm moving forward with you, but you haven't delivered your service, say, can I just ask you a favor? Once I've really proven myself to you and you're thrilled with the result, would it be okay if I ask for referrals later? They'll all say yes, of course. It's the easiest question to ask. So that's step 1, is we call it setting the stage. Step 2 is listen for the referral triggers. A referral trigger is basically an expression of appreciation. Oh man, thanks so much. This looks awesome. That's amazing. Thanks for making me look skinnier, prettier, whatever. Thanks for helping me lose the weight. Thanks for making my car, my house look awesome. Whenever they essentially say thank you in any form, or, hey, I know someone that, right? If they say that, that's the time to ASK to GET, which is the 3rd step. So set the stage, listen for the triggers, and then ask, right? And when you ask, you just say, listen, I'm so glad you feel that way. Remember at the beginning when I said that if you were thrilled with my service, I'd like to ask you for referrals. And they're like, oh yeah, man, I got some people for you, right? And so that's when you ask them. I love helping people just like you. And if they were referred by somebody else, I personally would say, and that's why, I love helping people that Robin refers, right? And so I want to help your people just like Robin helped you. So who would benefit from my service? That's really what it comes down to. So set the stage, listen for the triggers, and then ask the question. Be bold. Know that you're good, that you're going to deliver, right? All that insecurity, that fear that we were talking about earlier, that's just in your mind. That's the only place it exists, and you're in control. So if you don't like the movie that you're watching, change what's in your mind. Pick up a positive book. Listen to inspirational music, right? Find people that light you up. Go to church, whatever it is that fuels your fire. Find something that fills you up, because sometimes it's lonely out there, and we get it. And that's why at HOAcom, we're connecting communities and bringing people together.
That's awesome. Okay, Brandon, before we get closing up, we have a quick game we're going to play with you.
All right.
And so how it works is we've got a list of 20 questions that we're going to ask you, and you've got a minute to answer as many of them as possible. And we'll see how you square up against other guests we've had on the show.
Okay.
So just give me 2 seconds here to pull
I'm
that
not
up.
the high knowledge guy, so I'm not sure.
They're questions about you. Sorry.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
so
I got
you
that.
should know.
Sounds good.
Most of the answers, at least. All right. You got it pulled up? All right. You can start us off in 3, 2, 1.
Your dream vacation.
Thailand.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million.
New Tesla.
Your favorite hobby.
Playing volleyball.
If there was an Olympic competition for everyday activities, what activity would you have a good chance at winning a medal in?
Everyday activities. Staying positive.
A song you've been jamming to lately.
Oh, yeah. What's it called? Oh, man. I've been listening to this song nonstop, and it's called Lost in Wonder.
If you live to be 100, would you rather have the mind or the body of your prime self?
Mind.
Favorite holiday?
From the past, Venice with my wife.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Rocky Road.
Favorite fictional character?
Neo.
Favorite smell?
Success.
What's your nickname?
BBB. Blessed beyond belief.
Pet peeve?
Pet peeves.
Favorite restaurant?
We'll let you answer it because we like this one.
Pesto's. We went there last night. That comes to top of mind.
Nice. I love the smell of success.
Well, you know.
Might be my favorite answer for that one. So
All
far.
right, cool. Hey, this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for doing this and for just creating positivity, right? Like, I totally feel the vibe. You're here to just help people, inspire them, empower them. So thanks for having me on.
No, yeah, it's been an honor getting to know you and learn more about you and the book. I think you've kind of already shared where everyone can connect with you and find out more about the book. Were there any other links or places you want to mention where people can go if they want to connect or find the book?
I'm all over except for TikTok. I just found out today, if you look at Brandon Barnum on TikTok, I am not cowboy, so that's not me. Clearly, I need to claim a TikTok. No, you can find me everywhere else. Raving Referrals is on Facebook. There's 19,000, I think, in that club, and you'll find me on LinkedIn. I spend more of my time on LinkedIn, quite frankly. I don't really spend a lot of time on the other socials, so I kind of keep it professional and then keep my personal life personal.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, man.
And then I know you have a quick special offer for our listeners. Do you mind touching on that as well?
Yeah, so there's a few. Number one, go take the referral score quiz, referralscorequiz.com. The second is know your code. You've got to know your personality code, so go to knowyourcode.us, like know, K-O-N-O-W, yourcode.us. It'll take you about a minute to sort the cards, and you'll get a full report that'll tell you all about yourself. I'm telling you, you'll find it fascinating. It will really help you understand who you are, and then I challenge you to do it with your spouse or your parent or your child, because you'll start to understand why those little things have nagged at you in the past, and it'll give you empathy into them. So that's number two. Now, for those that need more help with their business, there's two different ways that we can help them. On the digital marketing side, we do a market assessment, and we have 7 different areas where we assess your business. And don't blame us, it's Google's ranking, but it's SEO, social media, website, e-commerce, reputation, and I'm forgetting 2 others. And so our team will run an analysis on your site, give you a free report, and then help you learn where you can improve each of those areas that you want to improve. Now, if you need business coaching help, that's at the Champions Institute. Go to tcichampionscoaching.com, tcichampionscoaching.com. And there we'll give you a free profit acceleration analysis. And really what this does is it goes deep into your business, and we'll go as deep as you want. But if you provide the P&L, we'll show you exactly how you can increase 7 different key metrics in your business. And on average, we're finding over 20% growth that we can create in the first 90 days for most companies.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing all that. We'll be sure to mention that when we post the episode as well.
Sounds great.
Thanks so much, Brandon. Like we said, it's been a pleasure, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate you guys.
Awesome. We'll catch you all next week.
Take care.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Just a few things before we go. First off, if you or someone you know is an entrepreneur in the East Valley, we'd love to have you on the show. Please get in touch with us by emailing us at localhustlerspodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at localhustlerspodcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for the latest news and updates. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds to rate and review and hit that subscribe button. It lets us know how we're doing, it helps us grow so we can reach more locals, entrepreneurs, and help small businesses grow. Thanks, guys.